talk relationships today. We're gonna talk about it. You writing you writing a book about it, so we're gonna get into it. What are some of the main? And again, this is all from your perspective, so audience, people listening, understand that we're two men. We're gonna give our perspective on things that we think. We ain't got all the answers, but we've been through some shit. So what do you think are some of the main issues that prevent us, Black people, all people, that prevent us from having healthy, intimate relationships?
Man, that's a big question. That's the thing. In the preface of the book, I always say, or I've said, I don't have the definitive answers for anything.
Of course.
It's experiential, like you said, and everybody's perspectives are different.
Of course.
But I think, from what I've seen, it's funny. I had a Twitter page years ago. They actually closed my page. They trumped me. They closed my page like him. I wasn't even on there, but I think I pissed off enough people in the 10 years I was on there, telling the truth. And people hate the truth. But I think that's one of the things. I would watch the debates, the gender wars that would go on about relationships and $200 dates and all this. What do you bring to the table is the current thing. And I think that's the thing is a lot of people, for one thing, aren't real. They have these expectations, but they're not real with themselves. They're not real with others. And honestly, let me say this, there's a bevy of things that
of course,
are wrong with why they aren't healthy relationships.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just name a few for time's sake. Mm-hmm. But I think that's one of the biggest things is that people don't want to be real. Whether it's people who send, as I say, they're representative, and when they're first meeting somebody and when they're first interested in somebody, there's potential there, and they can fake for years. I mean, I've known people who fake for years. I mean, my ex-wife honestly faked for several years, and that's why I tell people, cohabitation don't mean nothing. I lived together for 2 years with her, and she just totally flipped it with somebody else because, as I say in the book, and I say that in the book. People change, seasons change, environments change. So, in that, there's nothing is solidified. Anything can change, right? But I think, one thing is people being real. And so with that, I think it's also one thing that I always say is, and I say in the book, self-accountability is a lost art. People want to, like you said, blame everybody else. They never want to look at themselves. They never want to be introspective. And I think that's one of the biggest things is to say that this book, I could, all the stuff I went through, to be honest, I could write a whole book about all the stuff that my ex-wife put me through. But that, how effective is that? Because marriage, as I say in there, takes two. Mm-hmm. So I had to be introspective and before writing this book, even before thinking about it, I was introspective about what was my part in this failed marriage. So like I said, it takes two, but I think introspection is the biggest thing. Because so many people can blame each other. I mean, in politics, we see it everywhere. In the workplace, everywhere. Everybody's blaming or wants to point the finger to somebody else instead of people coming together and having solutions, and creating solutions and doing those solutions. Mm-hmm. I mean, the world's crazy. People are going through so much stuff. Mm-hmm. People are dying. This pandemic's taking folks out left and right. And there's still people who just don't want to be accountable for themselves, even their own lives, their own success, their own careers, whatever. They don't want to do that. So I think those are two of the biggest things is really, the reflection and the introspection on oneself, but really just being real and say, okay, what are the things that I expect out of somebody? Yes. But also, can people get those things out of me if we're going to be in a relationship?
Yeah. And I think that you hit that head on. I think, and I've been in a relationship for 18 going on 19 years now. And I would like to say that, like, when me and her first got together, being a young man, urban community, didn't have a father, the story, a lot of things I didn't know. And this was really, I was faced with hard moments that showed me who I am. Because really, I tell people all the time, relationship, one of the first things it does to you when you love the person, when you're invested to any degree, right? Mm-hmm. It shows you a mirror. If you respect them and you respect their opinion and what they're saying, they're going to show you a mirror. And can you deal with that mirror? Because that mirror, your parents have been telling you about that mirror, and some of your friends have, but it ain't nothing like when a woman, it ain't nothing like when a woman tell you what you're not doing or how you're not making her feel. And if you love her and you have to kind of deal with that. You know what I mean? But I had to learn years later, after going through so many things in my relationship, that, okay, when I entered into this, I had no idea who I was as a man. I had no idea what I wanted from a woman. This
Right.
is actually extremely important. Like people write down goals and people have a vision board and all this.
Yeah.
You need to have a goddamn relationship board
Yes,
where
sir.
this is what I'm not going to compromise on. This is what's kind of flimsy. You have to kind of go through this because you can end up putting yourself through something that was horrible and you could have been the cause of it. You could have allowed it to come in. I like to tell men too that we kind of lead the relationship. You know what I mean? We kind of are